Hi everybody, Adam here. Welcome back to our Lego room. In today's video, we're taking a look at two awesome new instruction sets that I picked up from Brick Train Depot. Really big fan of their work. We've got a number of their models built and in action around our layout here in the Lego room. And we have a growing number of their awesome instruction sets in our to be built queue, and really excited about the potential of these two models. I think they're going to be great additions to our collection and looking forward to seeing how they come together. First up, we have the GE AC4400CW locomotive. This model and instruction set were put together by Bricktail Studios. Big fan of their work, and I think, like I said, this is going to be an awesome addition to our collection. I've chosen to go initially with the Canadian Pacific livery for this particular locomotive. I'm really focusing in on adding a number of Canadian Pacific locomotives to our collection. Really want to build out that aspect of our locomotive collection from that particular company, both because I'm Canadian and have grown up seeing a lot of Canadian Pacific locomotives around, but also because I display at a number of shows here in Canada. And I think that, it's only right that we should have a number of these locomotives at our disposal to run around at shows. Now, this particular model requires roughly 1,655 pieces. And from my initial Bricklink research, it looks like it'll cost about $324 plus whatever the shipping costs are for the Bricklink orders. Not too bad, a reasonable amount considering the scope and detail on the locomotive. Now, with that, it is worth noting that the locomotive is designed to utilize a powered up hub and two L motors. Definitely definitely should be a locomotive that can pull, a decent number of train cars. We should be able to end up with some really long and awesome looking trains with this pulling the way at the front. With that requirement, though, of the powered up hub and the 2L motors, that does change things around for control. We're going to either need to use the powered up app or maybe Pybricks to control that, but that's something that we will look into as we start to put this locomotive together. And, honestly, Pybricks is something that I've wanted to experiment with for a while now, so this could be a good sort of impetus to dig into that and to start doing some work with it. A couple other things worth noting with this particular locomotive: they also have a Kansas City Southern livery for the locomotive. So that's on my queue of possible sort of second or third builds of this particular model. I think that would be a great livery to have as well. And it's also worth noting they've designed this locomotive with a space in mind for a Blunami board and speaker. I have not yet used any Blunami boards in my locomotive builds, but I'm really keen and excited to sort of delve into the potential of that side of the Lego train hobby. So we will be seeing what we can figure out there, and we'll find a good test case to be the first locomotive that we try to leverage the Blunami board with. But another cool sort of aspect and sort of potential upgrade for this particular locomotive. So really cool, I think. Exciting to see all the excellent detail work on the locomotive. I think they've done an excellent job of recreating the shape and look of the locomotive. And in particular, really like some of the work they've done around the nose here on the front end of the locomotive. Should be, like I said, a really awesome looking locomotive, and looking forward to starting to bring the parts together for this one. And, also fun when builds like this kind of push you into trying out some of the, sort of the aspects of the hobby that you haven't maybe delved into yet. I've heard a lot of good things about Blue Nami boards, so excited to see what we can start to do there and how that might change some of our upcoming locomotive builds. Now, the other instruction set here is for the Thrall 2743 gondola. This looks like it was designed and put together by Cam's Brick Trains. Really nice looking gondola car. Great texture and details down the sides of the train car and on the end caps. Should be an excellent looking model. And for this particular train car, I've chosen the Union Pacific livery. I think that should go well with the Union Pacific locomotives that we currently have and that we're planning on adding to with, or sort of around our layout here and in our collection. Now, this particular train car requires roughly 625 pieces. And again, looking at the Canadian Bricklink, I've come up with a rough estimate. I think this should cost about $68 plus whatever the shipping costs are for the Bricklink orders. Not bad though. Should be a relatively straightforward and easy to sort of an easy build to acquire parts for. Always a bonus when you're picking up instruction sets like this. They've got a great set of XML files for each of these builds, and that makes it really easy to track down the parts that you need on Bricklink. And it's sort of an extra bonus when the parts that you're looking for aren't too rare, so it's relatively easy to pick them all up. Now, another thing worth noting here as we're looking specifically at the gondola car, we are definitely reaching the point where we need to start looking at acquiring more of the ball bearing wheel sets for our train cars. That's the sort of preferred wheel set for most of these different train cars and a lot of the train cars that we have built and will be building for the layout. You can see here I've got a few of these wheel sets still to utilize in upcoming builds. I've got another container of wheels around the room. I just need to track them down and see where they are. You'll notice I do have I mostly have black wheel sets, but I do have a few of the brown wheel sets. Love these ball bearing wheels. Makes it so much easier to have longer trains. It reduces the friction that you get from the Lego wheel sets. So really glad that there are different companies that are putting these wheel sets together and offering them to builders in the community. As part of my order from Brick Train Depot, I've ordered another 20 of these black wheel sets. So that should give us, give or take, 5 additional train cars, assuming that there's 4 wheel sets per train car, which I think is a fair estimate. So, like I said, we've still got a number that we're working through, but the ones that we have are definitely getting used up in a hurry. So I think the additional 20 will definitely help us out, but it's just the sort of tip of the iceberg. I expect we will be ordering more wheel sets again in the near future as we continue to really expand on and build out our Lego train car and locomotive parts of our collection here. So we will definitely, you'll probably see more updates in the future with us buying large chunks of wheels, but I'm hoping this initial set of 20 will help push us along through some of this next wave of projects that we're working on. So, overall, really excited. It's nice to see Brick Train Depot rolling out new instruction sets on a fairly steady cadence here. I think they're going to be releasing some interesting stuff for Christmas this year. So, looking forward to seeing what they do there. But highly recommend in general checking out their website. So many great builds, whether it be locomotives, train cars, some buildings. They kind of cover the whole spectrum. Looking forward to getting the decals for each of these builds. And like I said, looking forward to seeing these in action around the layout, and looking forward to continuing to build out the Canadian Pacific part of our fleet as well. Now, if you have not subscribed to the channel, please make sure to do so that you don't miss out on any of our upcoming videos. And thank you very much for watching. We will see you again soon. Take care. Bye.